HIJKLMNP QRSTUNV WX and Y and Z. Now you know how this gets done. Can learning your letters be this much fun?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to the Roma Recycle Reuse Reimagine LabDay, number 2. This is our second lab day that is linked to this book project. We have some new faces in the room, as well as some returning guests. So thank you so much for coming, for joining us. My name is Rosa Maria Kostic Cisneros, and I am with the Weave team at the Center for Dance Research in Coventry University. I'm sorry, I'm nursing a cold, so I have a little bit of a raspy voice, and I'm also sucking on a lozenge, so I beg your pardon if I sound or if my voice cracks a bit. Thank you for coming. We're really excited to share this day with you. For those of you that would like an audio description, I am a female sitting in a cream-colored chair. I'm wearing a gingham green top, and I'm olive skin toned with large gold and leather materialed earrings. I have my black hair pulled back, and I'm sitting in front of a burgundy wall. So yes, thank you again. As always, this is a space where we discuss lots of different things, but we also aim to honor and create a very safe space, a very brave space. It's a space of respect. So we're also learning and sharing and challenging each other, but I ask that we do that in a very mindful and respectful way. We have set up the Zoom space so that it's like a meeting, so feel free to leave your cameras on, turn them off. If your cats or your children or pets come in and out of the frame, that is absolutely no problem. We like to create spaces that are very family friendly. Because I think we could take down the slide. That way I can see more people. And yes, so thank you again for joining us. I'm excited. We might have a few people kind of come in a little bit later. One of our guests, one of the family members from the community can't join us today. She had an emergency with one of her children. So but we are still very happy to have Yassmin and Maria from Real Master Productions. We also have Miss Martine Smith from Maindee Primary in Wales. So thank you so much for making time to join us. And yes, please feel free to use the chat function. You can say hello, say who you are, if you want to share a project or anything that's related to work that you're doing around equality and diversity, or even Roma, any links, please use the chat. Although we can't be in the space together and share, we try to make this digital space as friendly as possible. So if something comes up, we will have ample time towards the end or halfway through to discuss things and ask questions. But we are planning to share and screen a film with you that we co-created with many of the families. And we're very happy to share that today with you. But before we do that, I'd like to do a little round of introductions. So if we could start with, um, if we could have, yeah, maybe Yassmin, if you'd like to go.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Rosa, for giving me a chance to introduce myself. My name is Yassmin. I'm a grassroots Roma woman from Slovakia. I've been living in UK for about 10 years now, so it's been some time. I'm from Birmingham, and I'm a Roma advocate and Roma activist, and also a teaching assistant and Roma Slovak and Czech interpreter and translator. I've been involved in this project for some time now, and I actually can't believe that it's been such a long time since we started this project. And I feel really honored to be a part of this project and of this amazing team.
Thank you, Yassmin. Thank you. Who would like to go next? Maria, okay.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming and for taking the time to be with us today. I'm Maria. I'm the filmmaker and content creator for this project. I do have my own company, Real Master Production, that works with creatives mainly in Coventry, but West Midlands region and UK in general. I've been working with Rosa for some time now, and mainly with Roma projects and Roma families. And I'm very happy and honored to be here as well.
Yes, and Miss Smith. Yes.
Hello, everyone. I'm really excited and honoured to be here. I'm Martine Smith. I'm from a primary school in Newport in South Wales. I've been working with our Roma community. We have a huge vibrant Roma community here in Newport, and I've been supporting them for about 10 years now. So yeah, we're very, very proud of our community in Newport, and I'd say we're activists as a school and as a community.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so, for those of you that don't know, this project has continued to evolve. It initially started as a commission with Seasons for Change, where I was asked to create, I put forward an idea to commission a children's book with Roma families in the South Yorkshire area. Eventually, that had to shift because we had the lockdown, pandemic here in the UK. So then we shifted everything online, but that allowed us an opportunity to create digital material and to also rethink the project so that it wasn't only for workshopping with families here. So then we started connecting with families across the UK and Wales, in the UK, and eventually it made its way to Wales, which we'll discuss that later in the day. And we worked online and we workshopped the ideas around. We knew we wanted to co-create a children's book. We knew that it was in some way going to come from the families, but we didn't know how now because we were in lockdown. So what you'll see today is you'll see our film that we just finalized. But this first iteration of the project, we created the children's book. We printed over 500 copies of the book. We workshopped it with the families. We created digital material for the families so that they could also learn about recycling and the importance of climate justice and what that actually means and what that means to them. And so the materials that we created, the teaching materials, were online in different languages. And that's where Yassmin and Maria came in, where they translated that material. And we were sending that out to schools, sending that out to families, because also we were aware that some families can't read and write. And so that felt, for us, it's important to think about accessibility, inclusivity, and everyone, I mean, Ms. Martine, you've heard me say this before, but everyone has a superpower. And how can we really, bring that superpower forward? And so through the online workshops, we were looking at these characters and yes, and so that was, the film will tell us a little bit more. I don't want to spoil anything. So that was the first iteration, and then we realized that there was still so much more to do. We needed more books. I've been printing and shipping them off to people for my own money. So I keep looking for funding opportunities so that I can print more books. And fortunately, this opportunity with Research England funding came along, and I secured the funding. So I was able to then ask the team to come back together. We printed the book again, but we also translated the book into Slovak, Romanes, and Romanian. And we also made audio files of Yassmin and Claudia, who's a community member, a Romanian Roma woman, reading the book. And so now we have video files of that and of a child reading the book in English. And all of that is available, freely available online for families, for schools, for libraries. And so again, and we've now printed the book in Slovak Romanes, in Romanian, and in English. So another big shipment is going to go out. And the more and more we find funding to keep supporting the project, the bigger it gets. I have now the Sinti and Roma and Sinti Documentation Center in Germany who's contacted me. They want to put it in their archive and in their library. Places in Scotland, I have other organizations that are very keen to include it, to use it. We'll learn more about how Ms. Martine has used it at her school. So it really is gaining momentum. And on top of that, we've also seen that lots of the press is picking it up, and the press is starting to share and offer to create and to write stories that are positive about us. And that's been quite important. Just last night, the BBC Radio Sheffield contacted me and asked me about today's event and how can we promote it and how can we help you, which is great because oftentimes that doesn't really happen. So it's just highlighting that with each iteration, we've been very fortunate that we could take it to the next level. And within the Weave project, the Weave project is looking at how can we work with communities, cultural communities, and the Roma community is a major part of this EU-funded project. And so throughout the whole year, we've been working and including community members in various ways. And so in this second strand of lab days, the capacity building lab days that we've been looking at how do we create and allow the communities to give kind of takeaways for families or for schools or for people, our key stakeholders. And so if possible, Kozer, could we have Fred's video, please? And that video will frame, this is our colleague, Fred from KU Leuven, who will frame the Capacity Building Lab Day series for us. And then I'll jump right back in.
Hello, welcome to this Reuse Lab Day. I am Fred Truijen from Leuven University. And together with the partners in Reuse, Reuse stands for Widen European Access to Cultural Communities through Europeana. We are preparing for you a series of capacity building workshops as a second round in lab days that we do to foster understanding and innovation in the way minority content is represented in heritage collections, and in particular how this shows in Europeana. As you know, Europeana is the European portal to contents of heritage institutions. And when you aggregate this content and bring them together from different sources, it strikes how the contents have been described from particular points of view. And this poses a special problem for minorities in Europe. Minorities such as, for example, the Romani people, notice that they have been documented in these official collections essentially as foreigners, as people with another culture that is not the mainstream culture of the institutions that hold these collections and are now in the process of bringing those online. And so the idea of our lab days is, in the first place, to get an understanding of what the real diversity of perspectives in cultural practices really is. And secondly, to derive from that insights in how we could teach institution professionals to better the way they add descriptions to their contents and they select and curate these contents. Often these contents have been selected from an external point of view and not from an interest in the symbolic value and the cultural meaning of what the cultural practice is that is documented. And so what we want to offer is insights that we can use to train professionals in the sector. This could be catalographers, archivists, curators, audience developers, to make sure that they see where in the digitization and the description process they can intervene to come to better contents, and also how in organizing user engagement activities they can take these perspectives into account. And this involves both more technical issues such as metadata management, as indeed curational policies, selection criteria, ways of user empowerment and engagement. So thank you for your presence today, and I hope you enjoy this session.
Thank you. Thank you. So one of the things that I think that every time I listen to that, I find something new, and something that Fred said there around the external point of view. And so that's something that often happens, particularly with communities that are, you know, sometimes we say ethnic minorities or ethnic. So I'm not sure what the right term is to use today. So, but communities that are often find themselves at the margins or feel excluded. And the Roma community is a community that, you know, we are often excluded from many spaces, socially, politically, educationally, especially culturally. And so with this project, we were trying to challenge that external point of view and what do the families actually want. And so when we worked with the families, we worked from little ones, 1-year-old, all the way to 70-year-olds. And so it was really inter and intragenerational. And so I think now, first, are there any questions so far? No. Okay. So I think right now we'll watch the film. And we'll watch a bit of the film, and you'll get to see, I mean, we could talk about, you know, the project and the experience, but I also, in the spirit of co-creation, I think it would be really nice to share the film that was co-created with the families, and for you to see the children and the families themselves talk about, and you might see some familiar faces, but it also gives you a sense of the reach that we've had with the different families. Yes, so Kozer, if we could please have that, and feel free to use the chat, you know, just sit back, have a cup of tea, enjoy the film. Hi, my name is Rosa Maria Kostic Cisneros, and I was the director for the Roma Recycle Reuse Reimagine project. And I'm an artist researcher that has been working with the Roma community for several decades now, and exploring how we can co-create material and work together to look at topics that might be quite controversial, that might be problematic, and also very relevant to the communities.
My name is Teresa, Teresia in the Romanian way, and I'm from Romania.
My name is Yassmin and I live in Birmingham in King's Landing. I'm Slovakian, Czech and Roma interpreter and translator and transcriber, and I also work as a teaching assistant.
Hello, I am Alexandra. I am from Romania. I'm Roma and I'm living in Liverpool. I am a community project officer for Granby Toxteth Development Trust. I do a lot of projects with the community, educational projects. I work strategical in the same time with the city council, with the people that are interested to know my community. And I try to make the link between the services, public services, and the community.
Roma Recycle Reuse Reimagine is a project started with the intention to co-create a children's book that looks at climate justice and social justice, but through the eyes of the community members and through the eyes of children.
It's about teaching everyone, not just Roma community, but everyone else, how important is to recycle.
It educated us a bit about how much and in which ways we should value our planet, our family, our lives. And it gave me the opportunity to work with the people that I love, my family, my kids, and my community.
This project was like an open door for me because I was able to involve nationally with a partner and to do something nice and helpful for our community. I speak with the people, I identify like 3-4 families that they were available to be part of this.
And so I wanted to create a book and workshop with families, primarily in the South Yorkshire region, but given the timing and lockdown of the COVID-19 pandemic, everything transferred online. We were doing weekly outreach, and the families were so grateful to us that we were able to provide some educational activities. We delivered quite loads of bags which contain some recycled items, and then in the future we were able to use them in the workshops that we were delivering. Through the workshops that were created via Zoom, we decided to create a character. It came out from one of the sessions that a woman, Korkodusha, should be somehow an important character. And it came from this particular Roma woman was from Romania. She was talking about the Korkodusha trees.
It's a book about a girl that was looking after a park. The park was in the nature, it was all dirty. They cleaned it up. I was painting and then I was writing on the wall and then I waited for it to dry.
I will give the opportunity to the children to come with ideas, to draw, and sincerely I was surprised to see them to come with ideas to Korkodusha or to draw like Save the Park, and like they were ready. I think that they know some because when we started this I was thinking they don't know too much about this subject, but they were active.
It talks about a little Roma girl which just noticed a mess in a park and she wasn't happy about that, and she wanted to do something about that. She wanted to make a change.
During the COVID period, the first phase, Pittsmore Adventure Playground was a key partner with Care for Young People's Future. We were delivering bags with educational activities weekly for them. So Pittsmore Adventure Playground has set up a separate organisation called Scrap Dragon, where the businesses are donating recycled items to them, and then we reuse them in an educational purpose. The reason why we collaborated with Pismore Adventure Playground was because they were helping us weekly. Probably we were delivering between 50 and 100 bags to the most vulnerable families in some of the most disadvantaged areas locally in Sheffield. With the team, we decided we would find children's books that already existed that could then somehow be shared online.
My role was to translate those books and then audio record them into Romanes for Roma children to understand, and not just Roma children, but their parents and their families as well.
Because we were sending them materials, we were sending them craft bags before we had the online workshops. We put together materials with my daughters, then we sent them to in the post, and they received these, craft snail mail love in the post. Then they had the materials to workshop and to really create and think about these characters. And we organized 2 or 3 different workshops with each family online.
Our poster. So this is Johnny's superhero. His name is Robbie, and he likes using bags again and again and again so you can save the planet. And this is Lolo, and she helps the planet by recycling. And this is our dinosaur over here that was here a long time ago before the world got polluted.
Wonderful. That's lovely. Congratulations. That's really lovely. I love your sign.
We drew posters on, we had to write a poster to send to the Queen to take action on global warming and climate change.
Yeah, one thing that I've been able to take further from the project, and we kind of developed it and explored it with the teenagers, because I teach in secondary schools, we put it into practice, into our creative writing. We've been able to write a couple of brilliant ideas, and then it converted into stories.
What is important, like for the community, needs to be to have education on this subject, because a lot of people think that they have the knowledge about the recycling, but it's not true. When they come here, they don't know anything about this, and we need to show them. And this project was a good opportunity to give them some tools, like how is a book, and to read about this and to identify with the character.
After they wrote their letters and poems, they decided to send them to the, quote, people in power. And that's a direct phrase from one of the kids in the workshop that really wrote a letter to the Queen, and then he signed it Spider-Man. And he really wanted the Queen, the people in power, to know that he had something to say and that they needed to help him make that change. We have a really great team that could, when they were putting the book together, could really keep the essence of the work, of the material that was being produced. So we have a lovely kind of mix of honoring the graphic designer's kind of vision, but also the children and the family's message and energy of the book.
It is important to spread the knowledge and to teach communities about how important it is to recycle in order to save our environment, to save our earth and ourselves, because if we destroy our earth, we're gonna destroy ourselves.
As she said, I think that the new generation and involve them, maybe will give them some care about it, and they'll help make an impact in the world in the future.
Every time I think that the best tool and engagement with the community are the children. The children are the voice of the community. Is about the next generation, and if we want to see changes in our community, we will see these changes by step. It's a change with the generation, and the children is our future.
Little things that we do, like picking up rubbish, can actually make a difference in the future, like teaching younger kids to actually protect our environment. Because children are, once we are gone, they take over from us. And if we don't teach them the dangers, like climate change, they won't know how to approach it. So teaching them at the youngest age possible to get it implanted in their mind is best, so they actually care about taking action.
It's essential and it's crucial for our future, for their future, to be educated and to learn from an early age and to get into the habit of valuing the food, of valuing the clothes, of valuing everything what we've got around us. And in this way it will be an easier transition into adulthood. It will already be there, the habit into saving, into reusing, into recycling.
If we don't teach our children about anything about recycling, about the importance of it, they're not gonna know, and how they can know if they've never been taught that. So I think it's really important in order to save ourselves and save this earth.
My name is Stefan and I am almost 7. We should be recycling because it's very important to keep the nature clean in the world and even our gardens. If it's cardboard you can use it, but like if it's plastic too, but if it's like from food you just put it in the bin. Everyone should be recycling and reusing, because if we didn't, then because their nature is important for animals and trees. And at school, I was helping my head teacher in the field, and I've been picking the rubbish up and I put it in the rubbish bag with some of my friends.
After I'm finished wearing my clothes, we pack them in bags and donate them to people who actually need them. So one way we recycle as a family is we take clean containers, plastic containers, and we make arts and crafts. Like, for example, we make pencil holders, things to hold little like sellotapes and arts and crafts, and they really enjoy it.
So when I'm not using lights or the water, I turn them all off. At night I don't keep any lamps on or anything to save electricity. And
Thank you, Kozer. So as you can see, there are a few more minutes in the film. You're welcome to see the children go on to share they actually, in a way, ask people to give them a chance. We're not as bad as you think we are. And it's, that you get a sense of what they've already internalized about being Roma. But I think despite that side of things, they come off very proud. So I'll put the link. Yes, thank you for putting the link of the film in the channel, in the chat. Feel free to finish the film, but I'd like to open up the space to a discussion, reflection. Yes, so any thoughts, comments, questions? Yes, Kate. Hi, Kate. Nice to see you.
Hi, I'm Kate or Catherine. I work for education as well. I work for family learning in Warwickshire. I'm here in a personal capacity because I'm really passionate about kind of making sure everyone's included in my practice. I visit a lot of schools and I've taken the book with me when I've gone, and the reception's been really, really great. I mean, I would really like the link as well, the video link of people reading it, because that way I could send it out even in a more wider capacity, and put it on our social media and so forth. I just think it's really important to hear people through their own voices. We were also working with families from across the county during lockdown, and I was so impressed by the way that you were engaging people. It had such a lovely feeling to it, those workshops, because you were giving them things that they could practically do, really hands-on things, and the dialogue between you, the engagement, the joy in what they were doing, and then translating that, the way you translated that into the finished product by keeping all that vitality and all that imagination and keeping this sort of authenticity of the voices I'm so impressed, Rosa. It's just brilliant. Lovely to see.
Thank you. I have a great team and lovely people that really give themselves as well and are very vulnerable and committed, because it's not easy, to put yourself out there with this topic, because we do receive, or I know I have, in the past, in a number of ways you receive hate speech, hate mail, etc. So thank you for that. Yes, and I'll send you more books in the different languages, and we'll send the links as well. No problem.
Thank you.
Yes, Jose Antonio. I see your hand is up.
Yeah, hi Rosa. Nice to stay here, and thank you for inviting me. I'm Jose, I'm museum educator, and I work a lot with participatory approach. So I have learned a lot from this fantastic project. So congratulations, because it's a milestone. And I think you achieved two very important things in a participatory project. The first one is to connect the community, the culture community, with a nowadays challenge. In this case, the climate change impact. I mean, and you change the narrative, because sometimes the culture of these communities is so like something that is only cultural, or something that belongs to this community and is not able to connect and provide with very powerful ideas, this time from children and families, that is the most powerful ideas, to try to face in some way, fix in some way some of the nowadays challenge. So this is for me fundamental in this project, and I want to congratulate you and all the team to do so smart approach to this project. And the second point is that you change, and it's related with this one, you change the narrative with a positive input, a positive image from the contribution of the community. As you said at the beginning, the BBC interviewed you and you give inputs in a very positive way. And this is fundamental to break this cliche that we are always talking about these communities in negative terms. And this is, I think, very important for this kind of projects. Just one question to end my intervention is the post-project. If you have some ideas about the continuity about this project and to transform in some way in something that can be also so amazing as has been this project, because I think it has an immense potential for transform this in anything that you want, maintaining the philosophy and the vision of the project and the identity. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for, I think, others can also share their experience and reflect on what you've said. I'll just answer your question regarding the next step. For me, there's always the next. I always message Maria and say, Maria, I have an idea, and she's like, okay, Rosa. And, for me, one of the families actually contacted me and said, Rosa, can Corcodusha now save the school? So there's interest to what else can Corcodusha do? So for me, that would be incredible. And I think it's a question to ask the other community members as well. What would they like to do? What do they see as a next step? And that is something that I hope we can continue. We're quite lucky that, I can sit in these spaces like an EU project and have the support and university to kind of help me get, you talked about the positive. And that's the point of the lab day, is to look at the problem or a tension in whatever community that might be, and how do we bring these different voices together to think about that problem, to bring their expertise, but also what is the next step? Because it's very easy to autopsy, to talk about the negative, but what is that next step? And so how can we, from our learning, offer something for others to go out and do it? And I think, I don't know, Miss Martine, maybe this is a space for you to come in and how and what you've been doing, and also the brilliant work that you do at your school down in Wales. So yes.
Yeah, it's fantastic listening to everyone. So at Maindee, we came across Rosa very luckily through the Arts Council, Roma Arts Council of Wales, and Isaac Blake, to one of the that we are really proud to be part of. And so for us all here in Wales, we found it very hard to find resources that were representative of the communities that we serve. We talk very openly in Maindee about being social justice at the heart, and we can be change makers, but it's very hard to find resources we found that represent our communities. So I spend lots of my time researching, and then I find these fantastic books. So for us in Newport, it's very deprived. In Maindee, where we are, we came across Greta was a whole school approach to recycling, and we found the stories, and for me, watching the awe and the wonder for the children to hear the stories in their own language, it was a first for me. It should be a right. It's theirs, and for them to hear stories with people like them, but the language, it was a really humbling experience for me and for us as a school to realise actually there's so much more that we could be doing. So we started with Greta and the Giants that was translated, and we've also started using as a whole team the sort of Someone and Swallow Stanley books that were used, but we've taken how we have the Cockadusha story now, and we're going to continue it with the families, but it's opened up so much more, the connection to our families, that it's opened. So we're hoping to co-create the stories, and the children talk about what changes they want to make because of the issues that are going on in Newport, and especially in the local area, within the Roma community. So for us, this is a whole scheme of work, a whole approach to some of the things that we're looking at, but it's a real learning curve for us, I think, and the opportunity for us to start thinking about how we include everybody, and for the parents hearing those stories, giving them the links has been just an incredible space.
Thank you for that. Thank you. I don't know, Yassmin, if you want to talk about your experience of translating all of the books into Slovak Romanes.
It's really nice to hear that people were using those books and they were listening to them, and they really like them, and the children really like them, and all families. I personally learned so much, and it was an amazing experience for me to translate those books and transcribe them, and it gave myself a voice as well, and to other families as well through these books. And the knowledge I learned and what family learned from these books was enormous. I personally never would used to think that I would be able to learn so much knowledge from just a simple, kid's book, but I did, and I know the other children did, because everyone just really liked it. And the explanation what was provided in these books, how important it is to recycle and how important it is to, not pollute our environment, was really enormous, was really immense. And I agree that there are not enough resources in Roma language for Roma people. And that is something what I would really like to be a part of, to help to create more resources so this community is more recognized and included.
And I think that links nicely into what Fred initially started saying, that with Europeana, for those of you that don't know, is the European Digital Library that houses, sometimes you can say it's like a portal to other archives or other cultural heritage material. So you can access it there, and it has over 50 million objects, that might be sound files, images, films, but there's very little of the Roma community in there. What was in there, or what is in there, was quite specific to maybe a very specific way of talking or of writing about Roma. You could say it was perhaps a bit incorrect, some of the content that was there. And so with Europeana, we're very lucky they're also a project partner. We're trying to correct some of that. So we're working with community members to look at that content, to offer feedback and see how can we not only make it more accurate or frame that content to say that at the time that that was created, this was what was happening. Because also you don't want to erase history and kind of clean up history. History, it is what it is. So that's another important aspect. But what we're doing as a project is also adding new material in. And some of the work that we're generating, like these films, will also be part of and sit somewhere associated with the project. So again, if a Roma family or a Roma child wanted to go and use the Europeana Digital Library, they now might find something that's a bit more accurate and a bit more representative of who they are. And that's important because we need these role models. I think we started touching on that a bit more. That we need those role models. We need the families to feel identified with these spaces, because without that, they'll continue to feel that's not for me, that they don't want me, and it continues to create this tension and binary. I don't know, Maria, if you want to discuss a little bit of your work as a filmmaker. You're not Roma, but you've worked a lot with Roma families, and now there's a lot of trust that you have with the various families. I don't know if you want to talk about that process.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you, Rosa. So this was not the first time that I filmed the Roma families. And obviously at the beginning, they were a bit skeptical about, should I trust this person? Should I talk to them? How should I feel in front of the camera? They knew that this project was gonna be big, and they were a bit shy, or they were not gonna open up. So I feel like I gave them a lot of credentials, and they trusted me in a way so that they could talk freely. And obviously I went to Sheffield, to Birmingham, Coventry, Liverpool, and filmed everyone that you've seen in the video. And it was really, for me personally, it was an open-eyed experience. And I understood that just by the simple fact that these families and these people are in the film and that were willing to take part in this film says a lot about them, and says a lot about the community that they represent, and that they don't want to be seen as they are seen already, and that they want to tackle stereotypes and show non-Roma people that they can be educated and they can involve in cultural projects and educational projects. And I'm always saying that Korkodusha Saves the Park, the book that the kids made, is just the beginning. It's just volume 1 of a series of many to come. This is what I'm hoping, and I think we can do that, right, Rosa?
I hope, yes,
Yeah.
And I thank you, Maria. I don't know, Ms. Martine, if you want to talk about, this idea of change makers in your school and how you give space to the school, and what's that's like, because one of the obstacles we face a lot is, I go into schools and kids are very quickly excluded. They say, oh, their families just don't want to engage, or they just don't, and there are all of those things. And so if you could offer some advice or some tips for how families could use cultural material, I think that'd be really great, because you guys have, I've met your students online and they're incredible. So I would love to learn from you.
Thank you very much. Gosh, you're making me emotional. I think for us, we Maindee, it's belonging and relationships is what we do. We have our overarching theme, Maindee, is treat everyone as treat others as you wish to be treated, and I think that's what we do. It's a celebration. We celebrate everyone. We have our curriculum is made around a peace plan at Maindee, so a peace plan which includes all important dates for all of our communities, and we create that with our communities. So that is our curriculum, and we're lucky here in Wales with a new curriculum that we can offer that. So I think for us, about giving space, it's making sure everyone here belongs, And our message to everyone is that we're here and we care and that everybody matters. But it's also our learning, and we have huge events pre-COVID, and we're hopefully, you know, getting back into a space where we can, where our parents come in and share their culture, and share that openly with everyone. And our last GRT event that we hold, and we have our parents came in and cooked traditional dishes, but cooked them with halal meat so that our Muslim families could share. And for me, that says everything about our school, that we can have that space where we teach our children rights, which then fosters back into our community. And through the project and reading the books that we've read, I think it's really opened our families' eyes to their rights, that actually lots of our families live in private rented accommodation that came, which, you know, and that they had the right to ask their landlord for recycling equipment, which, and they didn't know that that was allowed, you know, and we've tied that into our teaching so that we can order the recycling boxes online with our families, that we can write to the MPs and say, this isn't, we're not happy about this. But I think it's giving everyone a space, but you have to be welcoming and learn. We go out every morning and greet our parents, and I try and learn a good morning and a good how are you in lots of languages, because we say, you know, a smile and just a hello goes a really long way. But I think for us, it's just about being kind to everybody and making sure that our families are included in everything we do.
Thank you. And that's lovely to hear about the bins and the recycling bins and the families, and, you know, this idea of rights. I think that's often, you don't realize the rights you have, and how then we can, you know, really advocate for that and be our own best activists. And that was, I think, another part of the project, was to say, you know, that we are all activists. We all can be activists in whatever shape or form, no matter how young or old you are. And in the workshops, I think that came through. A few families were a bit surprised, like, me, Rosa, I'm gonna go, you know. It's like, yes, you. And then it was like, once you warmed them up, then they were, you know, can I have this and can I ask for that? And that was a lovely, I think, shift to witness. I don't know, Yassmin, if you want to talk about that, because you yourself also talked about what you've witnessed, but also how you shared it with your own family and your own community.
I witnessed a really big shift in my own behavior and in what it gave it to me, because it gave me a voice, and I know it gave my family a voice and other people who got involved voice as well, because I also interviewed few Roma women, including my sister, in Slovakia. And, you know, the answers what they provided to the questions about, you know, whether they want to get involved in education or what is recycling, they're really, really, really profound. And it just gave them the voice and gave them, you know, the ability to express themselves and, you know, show them that there are other options, that there are things that they can do and they can speak up. And it gave to myself a really big opportunity to, you know, to open up and to stand for my people and for our rights and to speak up. So I'm feeling really honored to be part of this, because before I don't think so I had any voice before I you know, entered this project. But now, since I've been part of this project, I've learned a lot, and I've learned to speak up and stand for our rights and show others that we can get involved and we can do this.
Thank you, Yassmin. Thank you. I do want to honor the chat. I see that Kozer has put the links to several films. We'll also put together a nice little kind of takeaway sheet for you to after the event that we'll email you later. But Kozer has said, Martine, that's so inspiring and lovely to hear. So important for families and children to feel empowered. It's so great that you were able to do that work within your role. More local authorities need to invest in this work across the UK. Completely agree. And Lois, I don't know if you want, I'll read it, but then you're welcome to share and offer anything. Thanks so much for sharing your experiences and producing these important resources. I'm also hoping to use creative methods to reimagine the way that health of Roma people is understood and addressed. So all of this is incredibly inspiring. Fantastic. Do you want to talk a little bit more about your work, Lois, with the families and health? And I think we have also Kate, who's doing work with Roma and health, because all of this is connected. And that was something that emerged also in the books, that climate justice is linked to health. And one of the key things was around air pollution and some of the realities that some of the families face back at home, and why they don't know about recycling, and why they don't, I think, Yassmin, do you want to share that you were very much advocating and kind of sharing with other people that reality? Would you like to? And then I'll give you the floor to you, Lois. Sorry.
Yes, this actually came up during the interview I did with the Roma women in Slovakia, and also I shared that during our conference last year. Loads of Roma people are not aware about recycling because they're just not being given that chance. They're just not being educated about that. Because Roma community has been pushed away for centuries. It's very sad, but unfortunately, not a lot of us have a proper education because of that. And that means that we don't know a lot about recycling. Myself, I did not really know a lot before I started this project with this incredible team. And also, this country is providing loads of resources in relation to recycling. Like we can request, recycling bin, as it was mentioned here, which I also didn't know before, but now I do. But it's not the case in every single country. For example, in Slovakia, many times, all the times, the Roma don't have any bins. There's just one huge bin skip for the whole camp to put their rubbish in, and they have no chance to recycle. Recycling bins are not even like, a walking distance, away from them. They're miles away, and they're not able to go there, to walk there, to bring the rubbish there, because it's just not possible. And they've seen those bins, but they sometimes don't even know what they're being used for, because there is a lack of education, there is a lack of knowledge, and there is a lack of engagement from other communities, not getting Roma people involved, just pushing them away. But that's not the answer. The answer is to get everyone involved and treat everyone equally and give everyone the opportunity to get engaged, because I think this project showed everyone that the Roma community can get involved and can engage, and they are more than capable of that.
Thank you for that, Yassmin. Lois, do you want to take the floor?
Okay, I'll try not to talk for too long, because obviously it's just really lovely to hear about you, and my project's very much in the early stages. So yeah, I'm a researcher at the University of Sheffield. So yeah, I'm hoping to use kind of similar approaches, really, working with Roma communities in the region to kind of explore how we can try and counter some of the sort of negative stereotyping around health and well-being, particularly in policy, but also in the media, just to sort of work with people, on the ground to kind of explore what's actually important. But like you say, Rosa, it's so connected to what you're talking about here, because the way that I understand health, and a lot of people do, is that it's not just about, health behavior and health kind of, all the kind of negative stereotyping we hear about culture and healthcare seeking and things like that, and people not taking up vaccines and all those kinds of things. But it's just about the environments people live in, and, their everyday experiences in their sort of, their work and their education, where they grow up, their communities, all of these things are so important for health. And I just kind of want to hopefully work with communities in a way to just explore some of these stories and sort of bring them to the fore, things that, the kind of perspectives that have been neglected, perhaps, in other representations of these issues. Very much in the early stages, like I said. So I'm just starting to do some focus groups, and then hoping to move into some more creative methods. Not sure exactly what that's going to be, or depend on what people want to do in the project. But yeah, so it's amazing just to hear about what you've been doing. And I wish I was working with families as well after hearing all of this, because at the moment I only have ethical approval to work with adults, but I'm thinking, my mind's working now thinking that maybe I should try and extend that, because it seems like a really valuable approach. But yeah, it's been amazing.
Absolutely. And, I'm happy to talk with you about you know, with the university hat on, what that ethical process might consider, because that's the other thing, that it's classed as a vulnerable or a high risk. Because it's a vulnerable community, it's a high risk project. And so how do you mitigate some of those risks? And that's something that, you know, within my own work, but also within the Weave Project, we're trying to help people, you know, if it might be a little bit extra work or it might seem a little bit daunting, that's, you know, we can help work through that so that you don't just say, well, I'll avoid that conversation and go over here, but let's work through it together, because we could share our learning, and there's strength in numbers. And I really do believe that. And, you know, at the beginning, I'll just want to make one comment with Maria said. The beginning, when Maria and I first started working, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, Maria would come with me, you know, and I would tell her, okay, wear this, or, you know, wear all black and da da da. So there was a very kind of specific way. And that's also just when the company goes out to film, I'm very specific about how we should present ourselves. And we built up that trust. You know, there was a bit of kind of sometimes side conversations. Rosa, who's this? What is she going to do with the footage of my children? Can I trust her? Are you sure she's going to make it? And little by little, you know, it was me really saying, trust me, please trust me. I would never do that. And I would never, you know, my word is my word. I look you in the whites of your eyes, like my word is my word. And now I could say, Maria, please go to Liverpool, please go to blah, blah, blah. And it doesn't need me. And that's the point. It shouldn't need Rosa, a Yassmin, a Teresia, and Alexandra to connect. I want everyone to be able to just feel the confidence that they, and have that network and ability to be able to connect. Hello, Bernie. We have Bernie from the Roma Project in Coventry. He is the project director. Claudia, who you saw in the film, we've worked a lot with the Roma Project in Coventry. Bernie is doing a lot with, when we first started collaborating, we had a few families, and we're really working through some of these bigger questions we've had. And now, you know, Bernie has a whole team of Roma, non-Roma staff working together. We have a board of many Roma women. We work with the police, with the council. So I don't know, Bernie, if your connection is okay, but you're welcome to say something about the work and with the book and with the families that you've been doing. I think we lost Bernie. We might get him back. Any other questions? Oh yes, Kate, I see your hand up.
Hi, hello. Thank you. I've just been listening and watching with a great deal of interest. So I'm from the University of Sheffield, and I've got a role at the moment of trying to kind of challenge health inequalities through making sure all communities have equal access to being involved in research. And I think the first step really in doing that is to kind of understand the communities and the cultures. And it's just been really lovely to hear about this project. And I think, Yassmin, everything I've heard from you kind of increases my belief that actually if you affect one person, that sends ripples out into a community, and it's been really lovely to hear that. And you know, I'm really grateful that we've got the connection with Rosa, because although, Rosa, you were saying you want people to have that connection without you as being the middle person, actually I think we do need to start with the kind of known community leaders who are trusted, and that's kind of a way in for us. So yeah, just to say thank you. It's been really lovely to see what's been done. It's an amazing project. And can you buy the books anywhere?
I will send out the book. I think I said this at the very beginning. We have translated the books into Slovak, Romanes, Romanian, and English, and we've printed out another 500 copies. So I'm just sending them out to people, and will, you know, just let me know where, and then I will send you that. We also have on links to the films. So we have the books, audio versions of the books as well. That's, you know, you can share with families. So we try again to make our material as accessible as possible. Bernie, you look like you've had a little bit more of stable connection now. Would you like to come in and jump into the conversation? I need to ask you to unmute. Let me see, maybe I could do that for you. Bernie, you need to unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Now we got you. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, Just listening to you, Rosa, and the previous speaker, you know, you've been fundamental in putting this project together, and as you are well aware, you play a very key role in the Roma Project based in Coventry. It's interesting actually, because I delivered some of these books to the local library, which is not many doors away from where I am now. And the reception of these books was heartwarming, I can only describe it as.
Oh, that's so nice to hear. And, you know, I think, Kate, you also said that you wanted to, or that you shared books with local libraries. So yes, please do, you know, however we can get the books out, you know, that's the most important thing. And the other point that I wanted to make, if you don't have a copy of the book, everyone who wanted to be listed as an author is listed as a co-author in the book. And that was really important. And so the films, I did get some feedback from a head teacher. I won't say from where, but she said, you know, Rosa, the first 2 minutes is just a bunch of names being read out. And I said, that's right. Try that those are the authors of the book. So again, you know, I get like the films, it's a tricky balance that, yes, you know, it is a minute and a half of hearing names, but also there's something very powerful in those names being read out loud and not cutting that off at the film. So as a teacher, you know, I could see you need to kind of maybe scroll past that. But I also think that there's something quite powerful for kids to hear their names and to hear other kids being named. So it just goes to show that you're always trying to strike a balance between different stakeholders. But I kind of defended that and I said, well, no, I'm going to leave the names in there.
If I may just interject just quickly, Rose,
Yes,
I think I would also like to just note the fact that this book, whilst it is a small publication, has so much feeling in it, and in actual fact, actually attacks some of the preconceptions of the Roma as a community, as a race of people. And I think that's important. You know, we've moved on a long way over the last 32 years that I've been involved with the Roma. And I think this book sort of spells out the future from the very kids that wrote it, really. It spells out the future, the change in the community, and it actually gives hope. And I think that's a really important part of it.
Oh, thanks, Barney. I don't know if anyone else wants to reflect or share any thoughts. Yes, Yassmin.
If I can share something as well, Rosa. I also shared this book with quite a few people, and including my daughter's school. She actually brought it to school on the World Books Day, and it was right in front of the whole classroom. And she felt so special, and so the other Roma children who were in the classroom. I've never seen something like this happening before. And it really does, you know, destroys the preconceptions about Roma people, and it gives everyone hope. I totally agree with Bernie. I think this is just really the first step. And as you said, there were lots of other ideas about Korkodusha Saves the School. I think that's a brilliant idea. And if we can, I think we should definitely do something like this, you know, to produce more books like that and help everyone to get to know, you know, Roma people, you know, for who they really are. And the fact that those names were included, all those names of the authors were included in the book, it's amazing. And they were read, it's also amazing because it's celebrating those children, those families and their work, what they put in. And it's making everyone feel honored and important.
Definitely.
Thank you, Miss Martine, I didn't know if you wanted to say something, or because you work a lot with schools and you know the families that you work with. Have you, you know, you said you've used it in the curriculum, and you know, have some of the families talked about climate justice for you, or that kind of language, you know, is that used, or what kind of words are the families using to talk about these concepts? Because I myself felt like climate justice was a big kind of term, and I didn't really know what it meant really until I kind of really started looking at it. So for you with your families, what kind of language do you use to talk about these terms or this concept?
And climate change, climate justice is quite a tricky concept, isn't it? So recycling and making things better is language, you know, and keeping things clean and helping the environment is the way that we've gone, and it ties in with what we do. So with the families here at Maindee, we have our own community allotments, so you know, making the best for the next generation. And we've tied it lots into the cost of living and where we are now, so we've tied all this in and making it better for us. But I think the language around recycling, it was unknown to us, so it's been a really step-by-step process. We are using that with our families, and the children are coming and saying, I helped my mum last night, I helped mummy with the recycling. When we're going shopping, the language is starting to filter through. So developing that, we haven't been able to have parents into schools yet, but hopefully after Easter that's going to change so that we can do some more workshops. But I think for us, that really non-threatening through that lovely picture book stories was just such a beautiful way in.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. And I think that's, you know, a key takeaway for us is how do we present these big concepts in family-friendly environments, or so depending, it's really about who is in the space and who are you speaking to, who are your audiences, and how do we create material that will engage them. And this was something that we talked a lot about, Maria, Yassmin, Claudia. What voice do we want? You know, we chose a child to read the English version of recording of the book because we wanted that energy there. And we also chose a boy because the other two recordings were more moms. And so again, we really kind of thought a lot about those details. And it's important, I think, also just for me as, you know, a filmmaker, and you know, I think I love Maria's creative content producer. I love that, you know, she's this whole generation on Insta but how is it that we create material that it looks really professional and it frames the community in a way that shows, you know, we're just not slapping things together, but we're really carefully considering and making decisions. So when you see it, it feels high quality, and that's super important to me. I'm not saying that everything needs to be that way, but for me, that's an important point. And it's not about money, you know. I mean, when we first started Maria, we had very kind of different cameras and, you know, we've shot things on our phones before. So it's not about having resources to have super fancy kit, but it's about really thinking about what you do before you film. How do you want to film? Have you talked with the families before you film? What's important to them? So that then when they come in and you do film on the day, they're themselves. They are really themselves. And it's important to also keep that in the actual film or in the book, you know, like Maria had her voice as a graphic designer, and Albi, you guys kept your voice, but you also honored the family's work. And that, you know, it was a balance. And there were things like I didn't like the initial fonts, and I didn't like, so, you know, you compromise, but you also still maintain a really high level of professionalism. And that's something else that I think is about valuing the community and showing people as well that you have to respect us as well. And, you know, we're very fortunate with this project. We could pay the families. That was another thing. The commission that I was given with Seasons for Change for the workshops, I paid all of the families for their time to workshop with me, because also we were in lockdown. You know, some families couldn't go and work, and it's just they're honoring and contributing to something. So everyone that was involved that wanted to be paid was paid. And a lot of the families in Coventry didn't want to be paid, but they took the money and started a library, a recycling book library and craft corner at the Roma Project building. And so now there's a space there where we have different books on recycling for different age groups. We have different materials, how can you reuse Amazon boxes or, card in a different way? And so a lot of that thinking was happening also with the families, and they're continuing to take that out now.
Rosa, I just interject. I apologise to you guys. It's been lovely meeting you. It was lovely to have a quick opportunity to say a few words, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to leave. As Rosa knows, my life does not belong to me; it belongs to everybody else. So, great job, well done, and we'll talk again. So, all the best to all of you. Have a lovely weekend.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Any other questions? Jose Antonio says, amazing session. Thank you so much. Dude, congrats for this incredible project. Please keep it continuing in so many ways. Thank you all for sharing. Lovely project. It's to share similar with other communities and settings. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. I want to thank everyone for joining us, to the families, to Yassmin, Miss Martine, Maria. I'm sorry that a couple of the moms couldn't come today. They had something they needed to take care of with their own family. And that's exactly as it should be, family first. I just want to say thank you. Please do follow us on our Weave newsletter. We have several of the lab days coming up with other communities that we are working with. We're very grateful for having this platform. We're very thankful that you joined us. We will share the links with everyone after. But we also will have a recording of this session that will go online. So those people that registered that couldn't make it for whatever reason will still be able to listen and to enjoy this session with us. Thank you, everyone. And at all of my sessions, we have an intro and an outro. So Koza, if you could give us our ABC song that sends us off on our day. So thank you so much, everyone.
C, D, E, F, G. H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P. Q, R, S, T, U, N, V. W, X, N, Y, and Z. Now you know how this gets done. Can learning your letters be this much fun?
Thank you, Antonella. Thank you, Pietro. Bye-bye. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Koza. Thank you for everything.
Great job, Rosa.
Thank you so much, Rosa. And it was amazing. You had an incredible speech. It was amazing.
Thank you, girls, for everything. And Maria, the film is so beautiful.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I was looking at it and I was thinking, this is a great film.
I couldn't tell if you were looking at it or like looking down and were shy. I couldn't tell. So
I was not shy. I was looking on my phone.
I thought so. I didn't want to call you out on it, but
but I thought no one was looking at us. I thought they were watching the film.
Yeah, I see everything.
No, but I love it, and you framed it so beautifully. I thought everybody understood what this was all about.
I hope so. I hope so. I mean,
they definitely did. I showed this film to a non-Roma women, and they're so impressed. They actually couldn't believe that we've done something like this. They were thrown by it, and I was feeling so proud of all of this, of us, of this project when I saw the reaction.
Yeah,
cool. It was just amazing. And even my daughter's school, they were really amazed that we wrote the book. And you know, Amira was dressed as Korkodusha. I'll show you a picture.
I didn't know
this. I'm gonna show you that.
No, this is great.
Yeah, I just wanted to honor this book so much, and I wanted them to know that, you know, we are proud of our heritage, we are proud of our culture. And, you know, I haven't seen anyone else being dressed like that ever before. And I said, you know what, you need to be dressed like this because we need to honor this. We need to honor.
Cute.
Now we have an image, a real image of.
Yeah, that's right. I'll send you more books, Yassmin, of the Slovak and the Romanian.
They kept it in the library, the school, and you know, they've got a huge Romanian Roma community in our school. They just, they just love it.
How many kids are there in the school?
This is Amira, a load, this
is great.
I changed a bit of the clothes because I wanted it to look more Roma.
So how cute. How cute. And she has the laurel. Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, and I put stones on her as well, you know, the
how cute.
She looks like a fairy.
Yeah. That's so beautiful.
It's going on her nose as well.
It's, you know, colorful like a park, like a flowers. I wanted to honor the park. I wanted to honor, you know, the book. I just really wanted to honor it. And I wanted to make sure it's all included just in one costume. And she had chicken pox.